It is DecoverAI with Janar and Ravi. DecoverAI is a legal tech startup that leverages AI to enhance legal workflows with key functionalities like eDiscovery, AI-powered legal research, case strategy development, and my dog is yelling behind me, and automated generative defense. Its legal brain integrates these capabilities to provide rapid analysis for large datasets, helping legal professionals efficiently query, analyze, and build strategies for these cases. Guys, I apologize. My dog is just not loving eDiscovery for some reason today. I apologize. Ravi, I'm going to hand it back to you. Please fill in the gaps for anything that I just said.
Thanks, Matt. I'll quickly start. Okay, I'll just get started on sharing. I'll just do one slide before we kind of jump into the demo. So pretty much at Decover, what we are building is we're building like a platform for eDiscovery, legal research, and helping generate strategy. The idea is that we kind of see it as a legal brain, where what the engine does is that it understands what your case is about, what are some of the relevant precedents that the case needs, and how you can kind of defend or generate like a strategy for it. I'll quickly jump into the demo and kind of share how it out. Okay. So here's we start with the platform first, which is it's a multi-case platform. You can have as many cases as you want. We also help you kind of track the time spent, because that's for your billables. And then you can kind of look at what's the kind of storage that you're using, because that ties into our pricing model. And then you can have multiple collaborators, multiple attorneys kind of use it, and basically control access right down to the file, right? Now let's get into the demo. So we typically start with the Enron demo. And what the engine does here is that we've kind of ingested more than, say, 200,000 files. It does really well on scale. So typically when you're in Discovery, you're looking for that one critical needle in a haystack, and typically that's quite hidden, right? So what the engine does is that first builds a network graph of all the communications that's been done. So if you want to look at how many times did Eric exchange an email with Brian, you can kind of look at that and filter down to their conversations. You can also look at all the conversations that Eric has kind of done. And we also kind of build out like a knowledge graph in the background to understand what are the key topics, right? So the Enron case was mostly about off-balance sheet financing with SEC and special purpose entities that was created by Kenneth Lay and Jeffrey Skilling, right? So that's typically what this engine does. And it will first, even before you trigger a query, it knows what are some of the key elements of the case, right? Now let's jump into the case. And let's say I want to understand some of the key discussions around Jeffrey Skilling and Kenneth Lay's involvement in the use of special purpose entities. And the way that engine is designed, it's designed to be very user-friendly, which means that you can ask questions in natural language and it will scan through more than 1 million documents, right? So we've had productions where for a very large healthcare fraud case, we had like 1 million+ documents, and it's kind of right down going to the depth of it and trying to figure out what are the key elements, key documents that it should answer questions from. So that's one. But the engine is, as you see, it gives you answers within 30 seconds. So the idea is that it's kind of Google, but for your internal like case data, and it gives you trustworthy citations as well, right? Because that's critical. You want to understand, hey, if there were LJM partnerships that were created, which kind of document talks about that, and probably comes down to one of the indictments that the government had put in, and you directly get taken to the case or the page at which the indictments were kind of talked about, and you can go and read it further, right? So trust, but verify is the whole architecture under which this system is set up. Then the engine also gives you all the source documents. You can filter through, you can look at emails, you can look at transcripts and depositions. If I want to come back to it, I can also bookmark and share it with my team, right? So I can say Enron indictments and just kind of share it with the team. like add and save, and then this will basically result in an answer getting bookmarked and come back to it later. The engine is also giving you suggestions, which means that if I want to dig deeper into it, it'll kind of push me into the right direction, right ideas, or how do I further drill down into the discovery, right? So that's like the first piece of it. But let's say I want to also now understand, say, key legal precedents around financial frauds, right? And what you're trying to do is, we are not trying to give you 5 different tools. We're trying to bring all of this together into one seamless workflow, right? Starting from your case setup to your discovery to your legal research. And the engine is kind of trained on 1 million+ case laws. Typically, these case laws deal with all the different district codes and federal case laws. And then pretty much what the engine will do is try to figure out, in the relevance of this case, what were some of the previous cases that could be used for you to argue on or against against the case, right? So essentially, the interesting thing here is that we've also kind of integrated it with internet, so that if there are any new opinions that come in, you will also get access to that in one single query, right? So it's kind of like Perplexity, but also integrated with your case, as well as integrated with the 1 million+ case laws. So here it comes in with Enron case, but it'll also kind of give interesting case suggestions that you can kind of further drill down and go and look at it, right? So that's like the second part of the engine. And the last part is I quickly kind of demo it through our Figma mocks, which is pretty much like, let's say you've kind of drilled through discussions between Jeffrey Skilling and Kenneth Lay, and you know what the use of special purpose entities were. But what you can do is you can kind of add to a scratchpad and say, using the evidence presented, can you generate like a defense for Jeffrey Skilling? And what the engine does is that it will generate in an IRAC format evidences that you found interested, relevant precedents that you found, and then it will basically say, let's say a good defense strategy could be that there was lack of direct involvement in illegal activities, and a rule is like United States v. Brown, because in this case, no evidence of knowledge or involvement in financial fraud was previously used, and an email explicitly states that, right? So that is something that could be used by either your opposing counsel, or you yourself can use it as a defense mechanism, right? So kind of starting with discovery, taking you through research, and then giving you a strategy from 1 million+ strategy as to which strategy to use for that specific quote would be something that would be super helpful throughout. I'll just stop there and open up for any questions.
I appreciate it, Ravi, engineer. We have some questions. The questions are, what case law database do you use, if you use one?
Yeah, for us, we kind of scraped it off on the internet, and we also have access to licensed case laws through Fastcase, but we're kind of working through it right now.
Okay. Next question. It's kind of a two-pronged question. What are the expectations of the documents that you're going to be fed, that you're feeding into the platform? Initial facts collected during litigation, and does it track different points of litigation?
Yeah, so we expect, firstly, like all the transcripts, depositions, and emails, that's part of it. But if there are like indictments, the engine becomes smarter and it figures out which are the key critical elements of the case to look for from the indictment. So if you feed in more of the case information, the engine will start to become automatically smarter to get results out. But we do support discovery on all sorts of documents.
Got it. Yeah, a couple more. Yeah, I think we have time for one more, and then the poll's going up. Do you have the ability to integrate a client's facts with similar facts to precedent cases? I guess that's an interesting question. Yeah.
Correct. So
keep going. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we do have the capability to look at previous facts from the case as well and build like a knowledge around it, so that when you're generating strategy, we could use some of those facts as well as precedents to be able to generate like the best possible strategy. If that is what you're kind of referring to, that is certainly taken into consideration.
And there are other questions in here. Guys, I'm going to ask you to direct those to Ravi and Janar. Guys, thank you so much for presenting Decover and the platform. I appreciate your time, and thanks again.